What's up, Hoopers? You need to be doing these 3 exercises to help improve your ACL rehab following surgery, or if you want to hopefully prevent ACL injuries. My name is Dr. Gabe Ignacio, Doctor of Physical Therapy, co-founder of the Basketball Doctors, and today we're going to go over neuromuscular control exercises for post-ACL injury or preventative exercise to help prevent an ACL injury, especially those non-contact ones. So neuromuscular is pretty much the combination of learning how to control your muscles by activating the synapses from your brain all the way into your leg muscles. So hand in hand is just pretty much learning how to control your muscles in space. The big thing that we see with ACL injuries, especially those deceleration or non-contact injuries, is we all seen it when that knee caves in or it goes into that excessive knee valgus, where the femur goes into rotation, tibia goes into rotation, and your feet collapse into pronation. So we're going to show you 3 exercises that we like using that are kind of staples in our rehab that we work with our clients to help recontrol those bony structures to help stabilize the knee essentially by activating the proper muscles. So we're going to go over those exercises now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're going to go over multiple exercises for ACL rehab, but today we're going to focus on the neuromuscular re-education of those specific areas. Alright, so this is Marco. He's going to be our model for today, and we're going to go over the first exercise, which is standing clams. All you need is a TheraBand or a TheraLoop. We have this here. He's going to go above the knees, and from that we're going to go into a quarter squat position. So nice stable base, and then as you can see he's nice and square. So we're going to do both sides here, but we're going to be working on controlling internal and external rotation of the femur or of the knee. So for example, with the left knee here, he's going to have a solid base with his feet, so tripod foot. So 3 points of contact underneath the big toe, pinky toe, and heel. And from there he's going to let this leg cave in, and then controlling it in, and then he's going to push and squeeze through his glute to open up the knee back to neutral and a little bit past neutral. So he's going to do a couple reps as we chat. So big things that we want when we go into internal and external rotation of the knee is you want to make sure his feet are staying quiet. So what we don't want to see in the feet, Mark, we demonstrate, is a lot of like the toe coming up, the big toe coming up when you rotate. So that's not creating a stable base to allow you to move properly. So you want to be very planted in the ground to have a solid base, and then you're working on internal and external rotation of the knee there. But while you're doing that, this is where the neuromuscular education comes of you want to use that outside glute muscle to pull out and control that knee going in, as well as you're really trying to make sure you're creating a solid base with your foot with picking up that arch. So the left side's working on this side right now. We're going to show the other side. So when one side's working, the other side's also working. So this now side is staying nice and stable, knee over the second and third toe, not caving in, so that when that leg, the right leg, is working, doing the same motion that we're doing on this left side, this leg is also learning how to stay stable against an external force trying to move it inward. So if, for example, when he pulls, what we don't want to this side is to get pulled along with it. So you need to work on both sides, which is a great exercise to do to help create that stability and that neuromuscular control. And then once you do on each side, let's go 12 reps each side, now we're going to do both together. So same thing, solid feet on both sides, engaging both his glutes to pull and open up, creating that stable base. That's really relevant to like when you start landing on 2 legs. When you land, there's a lot of force that's going to try and collapse your feet and pull everything in. So when you land, you really want to try and control all of that force that's pulling you in to control it into a stable base and into external rotation a little bit and supination of the foot. So do all 3 different variations, really focusing on having a solid base in the feet, controlling the knee, engaging your glutes. Alright, so the first exercise was the standing clams, as you guys can see. So make sure you try that out first, and make sure you have good control before progressing into this next one, which is the standing fire hydrant. So it's pretty much just like a progression to that standing clam, but really important in different aspects with why we want to do this exercise as well. So Marco's going to demonstrate. We'll go standing on our left leg for us. So he's going to be in this nice stable position. So same concepts apply. You want to have that tripod foot creating a stable base. Knee wants to be aligned with that second and third toe. And then from there, his right leg is going to go into abduction external rotation, so pretty much like going out at like a 45-degree angle. We call this a fire hydrant because like when you imagine a dog using the restroom or peeing, it pretty much creates that same motion. So he's going to come in and out of this motion. So kind of what we talked about before, this left leg is the working one where we don't want this knee to cave inward when he pulls with his right leg. So Marco, what we don't want is that knee caving in, foot collapsing, not really good control. So you want to make sure that knee is staying into that external rotation while that band is pulling apart, and really focusing on the foot and glute activation on this left side. Good part is that right side, that right glute is also going to be working, so have that mental connection to both glutes. And you could kind of mess with your variations of reps and holds here. So Marco's demonstrating reps right now. You could also go into holds while doing reps. So for example, Marco will come down and hold for about 3 to 5 seconds, then controlling it back in, or you can hold for just like 30 seconds to a minute to really focus on just the glute activation first. All right, so the final exercise that we're gonna go over is a banded lunge, essentially. So what we're gonna use is a strength band. If you don't have a partner, you could just link this up to like a squat rack or a stable surface, essentially. And then we're going to be showing Marco's right leg here for demonstration purposes. So what Marco's going to do is, again, in a split squat or lunge position, you go rear foot elevated if you want, or you don't need to. And then you're going to get this band. Marco's going to get underneath there, and we're going to put it pretty much right above the kneecap, kind of right where the femur meets the kneecap, just so that you're not underneath it or right alongside of it. So the purpose of this is to pull into internal rotation. So kind of what we've been talking about from the beginning. So when I pull, Marco's goal is to use his feet and his glute to pull that knee in alignment to that second and third toe, making sure it's nice and square facing forward, not caving in or too much external rotation. And then you're going to maintain that pull, and then you can kind of mess with the variation of how hard you want it to pull, but we're going to find the right balance for that. And then from there, you're going to go into a split squat. So Marco's going to go down and then up. As he goes, we're going to chat. So same concepts apply here. Tripod foot, knee staying over the second, third toe, knee not collapsing in, and then the hip, trunk, and everything staying level. So what I mean by that is we're going to start at the knee. So Marco, when he comes down, we don't want the knee to collapse in while he's coming down or coming up. So as he comes down and up, we want it nice and square. Another thing we don't want to see is the hips cave in or collapse in one way or rotate too much. So you want to make sure his pelvis is staying centered. And the last thing we don't want to see is his trunk leaning either out or in as he comes down and up. So really making sure you're focused on the movement, not trying to go quick reps. Try and go 3 to 4 seconds down, little pause at the bottom and drive up, focusing on all those little concepts. Hope you guys enjoyed those 3 exercises to work on neuromuscular re-education for ACL rehab post-injury, or even if you want to help prevent non-contact ACL injuries. So really focus on the cues. So to recap a little bit, we did the standing clams, standing fire hydrant, and split squats with the band pulling internally. And you really want to focus on having that tripod foot, so having 3 points of contact of underneath your big toe, pinky toe, and heel, as well as making sure that femur and tibia aren't falling into internal rotation, pulling that knee out, so preventing that knee valgus, and also making sure you're nice and stable in your hips and trunks and pelvis, and making sure you're engaging your glutes while you do all those exercises. We really hope you enjoyed those exercises. Please try them out. We're going to have multiple series of different ACL protocols or rehab exercises that we like using. This is kind of a snippet of kind of what we like using for our staples for neuromuscular education. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, share with your family and friends. Help us reach more hoopers. We appreciate you stopping by. Again, my name is Dr. Gabe Ignacio, Doctor of Physical Therapy, co-founder of Basketball Doctors. That's Ball for Life.